Hey, Blazer Tales. Oh, I've got a great one for you today. This one is an amazing story. It is a true story. This is called Lifeboat 12. It is by Susan Hood. This is a really, even though it looks like it's a thicker book, it's a really quick read by the way it's written more in prose form, not in chapter form. So it's a fairly quick read. There's not really chapters, so I'm going to read several pages of it. And like I said, this is based off of a true story. The first section is called Escape. And this is summer 1940. The envelope. I shouldn't do it. I know I shouldn't. I'll be in trouble if I open the large envelope addressed to my parents. But it's stamped on His Majesty's service. It's not every day a family like mine gets a letter from the king. The clock tick, tick, ticks. I glance down the hall to make sure I'm alone. I slide my finger under the flap and peer inside. Dear Sir or Madam, I am directed by the Children's Overseas Reception Scheme. It's nothing, a dull form letter. But wait, someone has written my name. Your preliminary application has been considered by the board, and they have decided that Kenneth J. Sparks is or suitable for being sent to Canada. What are you doing? Cries my stepmom, seizing the letter from my hands. That's not addressed to you. Charles, Charles, this cheeky son of yours wants a good clout about the ears. That letter's about me, I say. You're sending me away? I glare up at my father, who appears in the doorway. My stepmom got her wish to get rid of me. Ken, let me explain, says my dad. This letter could save your life. The reasons why. They sit me down. I shrug their hands off my shoulder and stare at the floor, heart slamming, heart rising. They talk and talk, voices swirling in the air, rising and falling, overlapping, interrupting, weaving a net, a trap. But I'm not going to fall for it. I try to block them out. I concentrate on slowing the storm in my head. They're sending me away. But hang on. What's that about the Germans? The Germans are coming, says Dad. France surrendered this summer, and the Nazis are gunning for England next. Hundreds of thousands of parents applied to have their kids sent out of harm's way. You're lucky to have been selected, says Mom. I have a sister in Edmonton, Canada. You can live with her. With your father out of work, money is tight. We can rent out your room to help pay for rations. Just think, sailing on a ship, says Dad. It will be an adventure. You'll make your way in the world. Get your head out of those books. My books? My stories of buccaneers and buried gold, cowboys, braves, and days of old? I snort. Most parents will be chuffed to have their kid who loves to read. I read them because they take me away, far away from the way I'm living. My 3-year-old sister toddles over and rests her head on my knees. I run my hand over her curls. What about Margaret? Shouldn't she go too? She's too young, says Mom. Only 5 through 15 are allowed. At 13, I'll be one of the oldest. No adults, I ask? Parents can't go, says my dad, but you'll have escorts, a whole staff of doctors, nurses, teachers, priests who are volunteering. Yes, son, you're one of the lucky ones. You leave in September. You mustn't tell your friends, says Dad. Loose lips sink ships, you know. And there will be a new overcoat for you, says Mom, as she clenches, as if that clinches the deal. I squint up at her and think, I'm as good as gone. I tear out of the house. The next one's called Escape. I dash down the streets, down the railway line, across the tracks, over the fence. There in the wall behind the loose brick, I snatch my stash of penny cannon fireworks. I stick some in a tree, strike a match to the fuse, and back away. I watch as the wick sputters, smokes, sparks. Blam! It makes quite a hole. The charcoal scented smoke wafts away, and with it my fury. The smoke distracts me as it does angry bees. Let's face it, my stepmom never liked me. She calls me a terror, a little so-and-so. I wish my own mom were alive. The doctors told her she wasn't supposed to have children, but she didn't listen. She died soon after I was born. It's all my fault. But why did my dad have to marry my nanny? Well, I wouldn't have married Margaret otherwise. Sure, she's a bother sometimes. Let me start that over. But why did my dad have to marry my nanny? Well, I wouldn't have Margaret otherwise, which is his little sister. Sure, she's a bother sometimes, but she makes me laugh. I think about my stepmom, the ship, and this excavation plan. I feel like a hand me down my stepmom doesn't want, so she'll donate me to a good cause. Forget it. I'm not going. She won't get rid of me that easily. I climb over another fence, hoist myself up in a tree, and grab an apple to eat. She thinks I'm a terror just because I like to scrump a few apples. My dad just says I'm full of beans. I can't always get away with much, or I'll get a clout round in the ear hole or a cane at the school. Now they want to send me away across the ocean? Well, I'm not going. The next one, this is the last one we're going to read, is called The New World. That's what they call it. Wonder what it's like. Everything I own is old, tired, secondhand. Well, I got a new mom, but I'm like her secondhand kid. She makes me feel worn, torn, worthless. A new world sounds wide open, a chance to start my miserable life over again. A black ant makes his way along the gnarled branch high off the ground. He's brave, that one. I chew on my apple. How could it taste sour and sweet at the same time? Maybe Dad's right. It would be an adventure. Far from the rations, far from my stepmom's scowl, far from my teacher's cane, far from the war. 'Twould be folly to miss this chance. They say I'm one of the lucky ones. Maybe I am. Oh, and that's what I'm gonna finish reading on right there. This is called Lifeboat. You've got to find out what happens when Ken gets on the ship. Oh my goodness, it's so good. Okay, thanks, Blazer Tales. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next book talk.